About to come in here and show out. About to come in here and show out. It's your boy the Insane Gang Freak. It's your boy the Insane Gang Freak. It's your boy the Insane Gang 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 Freak. It's your boy the Insane Gang 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 Freak. It's your boy. It's your boy, it's your boy, it's your boy, it's your boy, the Insane Gang Freak. Maybe I should move this over here. Yeah, let's do that. It's your boy, the Insane Gang 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 Freak. What's up, Orion? What's up, Revolver? What's up? I'm still in 2005. What's up, Boom? What's up, Emmanuel? What's going on, guys? The week was chill for the most part. Some minor bumps and hiccups, but nothing too detrimental. I'm slowly but surely losing my mind, but I think I'll be okay. I'm lying. I lost my mind a long time ago. I'm going to let people kind of float in here as I grab links for various conversations. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It's not specifically what I want it. I want it like, I need the full details here. That is absolutely not it. No. Come on, bro. Wait, did we put it in general? Is that where it's at? There's so much meme nonsense in here. Every time we let Polly in the chat, all she does, she just posts memeing nonsense in our server. And then I can't find anything for like, Jesus Christ, there's so much here. I just wanted the news. Oh my God. There's so much. There's so much here. All right, we're going to move this over here. Bro, I forgot how fucking fast Gen 3 is. That's why it's so good. Oh, Gen 3 is beautiful. Can't wait to grab a link next week. Oh, yeah, because Zelda comes out next week. That's the lifestyle we live in. I'm going to let people kind of float in here. I know that the Switch 2 is kind of the conversation of topic because of so many leaks and stuff. But if anyone wants me to address, I don't think there's really been any other PlayStation news other than that PlayStation anniversary thing they showed. You started this, bruh, have you been playing all day, sir? Sir, it sounds like you've been playing like all day, dog. Like this isn't even like I only had it for a couple hours. You literally sound like you've been playing like the whole day. Because to go from the beginning of the game to Norman sounds like you were blitzing. Nah, you weren't working if you were blitzing through that. You know how much work that is? Jesus Christ. So technically we have some things about Final Fantasy not selling well. Neither the remaster nor the 16. Then we have rumors of Horizon Zero Dawn getting a remaster, which is some crazy nonsense. What else do we have? Obviously, we have the Pal World suing to cover, and then switch to potential leaks. But that just proves I'm the biggest Gen 3 fanboy. I'm not gonna let you keep that title, sir. I want you to know that right now. You're not just gonna keep that title. I want you to know that. You can casually hold on to it, but you don't have it, okay? So what do we want to address first? Do we want to address the Power World situation? Do we want to address the Horizon port that we don't need? Or do we want to talk about Square Enix saying they're not making money again? I hate to say it like that, But literally, that's how it feels every time Square. You know what? We're gonna start with Square. Every time Square wants to talk about money and sales, at least in the last few years, we're not making enough. We need to figure out a way of increasing profits. And I look over and I turn and you go, "Oh look, you put out an insane, overly ambitious remake, and essentially an action game that wants to pretend like it's Final Fantasy. That if anything does it's everything in its power to alienate itself from the Japanese market, and somehow we're surprised that it didn't make any money. Now, let's not get it twisted. The Japanese market hasn't really been the biggest financial boon for any company, right? Because Japanese people just ain't playing these games. They're on their phones. They're doing a lot of mobile stuff. Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero. They're just doing a lot of gotchas, right? A lot of insane news. Games coming, people freaking out. Oh yeah, of course. So the Japanese market has never been the most successful. Okay, we're not gonna sit here and pretend like that's what's been going on. It's not. Okay, we're just gonna be 100% honest here. With that being acknowledged, Square essentially abandoning them for, I would say, two main games, I feel like really didn't serve any other purpose, and you think that you could all of a sudden push. Okay, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for the Switch stuff that came out today. Not today, but this week. I was looking for the file. Okay, cool. But yeah, so Square's like, oh, we didn't make enough money. Well, if I remember correctly, those games are pretty much locked to PlayStation with some PC ports for the first remake game, and I think 16 just got its PC port. And I'm like, why are you making these games exclusive to PlayStation? As if PlayStation has the most money. They don't even have the most money available right now to the player. If you were really concerned about making some money, and to be fair, Square has mentioned this before about how they wanted to do more multi-plat stuff. I'm like, bro, I don't know why you, as a third party, you feel like overly putting your hand in with Sony. You did it with, Capcom does the same thing with Street Fighter 5, and I'm just like, guys, I don't understand why y'all think Sony has all this, the fandom is gonna come out here and spend all this money. And I'm not saying that people don't care about those games, but let's be real here, those games aren't really appealing to the majority of Final Fantasy fans. Those games were really meant for modern fans. Turn-based RPGs are just no fun. Who wants to sit there waiting for an attack and then wait until you can then press a button to attack? If this was a real game, I would just attack. And I'm just like, you say that, but most of those modern fans, because here's the other thing, the modern fans of Final Fantasy don't care about Final Fantasy innately. That means you have to go out of your way to appeal to a fan who never looked your way in the first place. So even though it's different with its action combat and its fake turn system and whatnot, it still looks like an anime game, which may have been the reason why people weren't interested originally. So I don't understand why they're surprised. Also, you were spending an absurd amount of money on this. You've turned 7 into this big breasted cow that you were going to milk. It seemed like ever since 7 came out, it was like this attractive woman. This is going to be a crazy analogy. Just roll with me here. It was this attractive woman who came out, and people were like, oh my God, she's so beautiful and she's so down to earth and I can relate to her. I wish I could just be with her. And then they got with her. And then over the years, she started adding in more plastic surgery and started looking into the wrong trends online and started following the wrong people and gaining a mindset that was very toxic and unabling to become a unique individual. So by the time you got her in 2024, she looked like this plastic bimbo of a woman with no real values to her. And somehow people were like, what happened? What happened? What happened? What's up, Goki? What happened to her? What happened to her is that you chased the wrong dreams and you let her run all around and spend all this money that she shouldn't have had. You stay humble by keeping yourself humble, not turning myself into a freaking cash cow. No. I was using it as an example for Square Enix and Final Fantasy. I'm essentially making a joke about how Final Fantasy, Square's over here talking about how they didn't make any money, which I'm not really surprised that they're not making any money. but I find it hilarious that it happens every time. And the crazy thing is that Square, all they had to do was just keep things simple. Everybody and their grandma wants to turn their games into freaking movies as if, that's what we wanted. The problem is, and what makes it worse is the expectation that some fans do have is literally based off of the expectations they set by being overly ambitious for no reason other than to prove a point. See, games can be taken seriously. Games can be like movies. See, Last of Us looks like a movie. Final Fantasy 7 looks like a movie. Final Fantasy 16 looks like a movie. Final Fantasy 15 looks like a movie. We can do it. We can do it. Resident Evil looks like a movie. And I'm like, guys, listen, you can look like a movie all you want, but if your game isn't fun, I don't care. So with Square not making any money in between their 16 game and the 7 remake part 2, which is why that PC release is probably coming soon as well. It's part of me doesn't really feel bad because it just goes back into my original point. Square with money is the worst kind of Square. Square with a budget and some realistic expectation and a more toned down thought process makes better games. Bravely Default 2, Dragon Quest. Well, Dragon Quest is kind of a weird position because even though it's a higher end series, also, what's up, Antrite? Because even though Dragon Quest, when it sticks to its roots, is perfectly fine no matter how much money you put into it. But it's this whole chasing the Western dollar. That's really where we're stuck in here. We're stuck in the Western dollar chase saga. And as an American who likes Japanese games, I'm sitting here questioning, why did you put me through this situation? What's up, Nessa? About the Final Fantasy 7 remakes when they hit $20 a pop. I'm not even going to humor that until the entire trilogy out. You got to give me the whole trilogy of Final Fantasy 7 before I'm even humoring any type of purchase. And then even then, I need to hear, because realistically, the Final Fantasy 7 remakes were also remakes that didn't know who they were for. Final Fantasy 7, people who wanted a Final Fantasy 7 game remake, were people who just wanted to see the game in modern graphics, up to date, the same story, because most people argue that story for 7 was perfect, or it was perfect for them, right? And Square said, no, we're going to do a weird remake where it's mostly the same story, but it's has some what if nonsense in it. Like, what if we did multiple dimensions, and what if Zack was still alive, and this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, I don't know who you thought this was for, because it's not really for old fans, for those who just wanted a remake, but they're also the only people who can really play this and get it. Because if you just play this as someone who's new to Final Fantasy, it's just like a weird, messed up version of 7. And half of the things that you would like about it, you would have to be a fan of 7 to even understand. So I'm sitting there like, who was this for? Why did you waste my time? Why did you waste my money? Why did you waste your money? Because you didn't make all of it back anyway. No one learned a lesson. Nobody learned a lesson. It was ridiculous. So now they're talking about, well, I guess maybe we shouldn't make console exclusives anymore. Really? Really? It was you losing all that money on 2 Final Fantasy titles that made you go, maybe this wasn't a good idea, especially when you didn't have to. Either that or Sony, what I really feel like was said is that Sony was like, bro, we're not going to pay for this. What do you mean? Also, there's been rumors that Square has been wanting Sony to buy them for years. Like, that's the crazy thing. This isn't even the craziest part is that I'm sitting here in the corner like, didn't you want them to buy you because you're so bad with your money? Spoiler, yes. Also, after seeing what happened with Concord, maybe you don't want to do that. Because if you see what happened to a studio they bought and they let sit there and work on a game, and then, the studio died. So, And there's been statements that have come out recently saying that they spent like 400 million on that game. And then that game had an environment where it was like overly toxic positivity. Where it was like everything was okay, everything was great. You about to come out here and be the next Overwatch. And they couldn't take any criticism. I think there's an interview with what was it, Colin Moriarty? I know how people feel about Colin. I'm not a fan of Colin either. But it's still something. It's an interview that may or may not have some interesting information in it. The point is, that money was so mismanaged, and Sony probably spent too much on a studio that essentially lived and died by a game that only survived for 2 years, Square, maybe you shouldn't be looking over here in the corner like, I think Sony should buy us, man. If Sony buys us, we'll be okay. Because then we can make all the games we want and don't have to worry about finance. Realistically, what Square wants to do is make games and not be concerned with the consequences of making games, which is both a good and bad thing. Because for the developers who make good games, they can just focus on making good games. For those of you who make terrible games, you don't need to touch anything. Or you need to be heavily watched and guided in the right direction. Because anybody can learn as long as they're willing. My main problem with Rebirth is that some of the mini games are atrocious, but others are really good. That's your only problem with Rebirth? Your only problem with Rebirth is the mini games. Nothing with the main plot and the story and how it handles Sephiroth and any of that. That's crazy. So Square Enix wants to be like Sony. Too bad Sony is going downhill. I guess there are just like Sony. LOL. What's up, Jazzy? How many games can Nintendo make with 400 million? I wonder. A lot. Considering the most expensive games they've put out are the Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom games, and I think they both said those games had to sell like, what was it, like 3 mil to justify a profit. You haven't finished Rebirth yet. Didn't Rebirth come out this year? And Juice hasn't even started it. It's crazy. All these new fans they wanted to get, and people out here not finishing games. And I'm not saying it's your fault for not finishing the game, but it's funny that you saw that they wanted so badly to chase that Western dollar. You also forget Westerners who play only Western games have a short attention span. An RPG takes a level of dedication. Thank you for the $5, Revolver. If Xbox didn't drop the ball last gen, I think Sony would have pulled even scummier stuff. That's true. I've always said the argument that the reason why Xbox is the reason why Sony is champion the way it's champion is because you had two consoles that made both terrible decisions in different ways. That's a whole other issue. Thank you. See, Robin's in tears because of your kindness. At least the smaller games are still a thing. Oh yeah, of course. Like I said, Jazzy, Square. When Square doesn't have money or when Square has a respectable budget, they are perfectly fine. I will mess with. They have a lot of IPs and a lot of games I mess with. But when that big budget, boy, I don't want to see nothing from their big budget. I don't want to touch anything from big budget, which is why I'm scared about them talking about shaking up Dragon Quest. We've lost our lead art designer, and you're talking about shaking up the formula of Dragon Quest. Listen to me. If you ruin this experience for me, I promise you, especially because of how much I loved 11, I want you to understand something. Dragon Quest 11S is the first Dragon Quest game I beat. I love that game. I love that game a lot. I don't talk about it as much as I should, but I love that game. To go from that game and you go and you mess that formula up, I will throw and burn so many things. I haven't even decided what the things I'm going to throw and burn are, but I will burn and throw them all. I'm skeptical of KH4 after being bummed out with 3. I don't even care about KH4 right now. KH4 is such a low radar thing in my mind. I almost feel like that game's got to come out and be out for a year before I have any level of investment. 3 was such a long and arduous wait, and there was so much building up to that. Who called me? Why did my mother call me? Hold on, my mother called me. Let me see what she had to say. I bet it wasn't nothing important. She always calls me just to tell me things. I'm only doing this to check with her. It may not even be important. Real quick. Sorry.
Hello.
You called me. What's up?
I was just checking on y'all. I tried to get down, but I didn't see you on the phone.
I'm in the middle of streaming. I just want to double check.
But I talked to my mom. I'm eating now. I just took a bath.
Okay. Bye. Wasn't nothing. She just wanted to check on me. Well, Square is already censoring Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D, so we're already cooked. Yeah, it's always a phone cameo. Yeah, that's not great either. I don't know why they're doing that. Square is weird. Square is weird, dog. It's just, this is where we're at. Black moms are the best. Well, I ain't never known any other mother. I can't really compare and contrast. The point is, I love my mom, so we'll leave it at that. But no, seriously, besides all that, yeah, Square has essentially shot themselves in the foot. And now are like, well, maybe we'll make multi-plats. And my question is, does that mean you're releasing things on Xbox? The irony of that situation is Xbox has never been a good cash place for Square titles. Unless it's like some off-brand, off-the-wall stuff. Most of Square's stuff I also don't think sells on Xbox. And some of you can correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. But for the most part, the only two companies they sell a lot of money with is usually Sony and Nintendo. And Nintendo got a lot of exclusives for like a year, and then they went to other consoles. And then Sony got a bunch of exclusives that are just slowly going to PC. And guess which ones they're complaining about the most? The ones that went from Sony to PC. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that all the things they put out on Switch is so well. I don't want to pretend like it has. But my point is that your big budget stuff isn't selling, which in my mind and probably in Square's mind is the most important thing to sell. If your big budget games aren't selling, that's where you're losing the most amount of money. Y'all think the Switch 2 is going to be weaker than the OLED Steam Deck? Probably. That's a whole other. We're going to get into that, but yeah, I assume it'll be weaker. Not insanely weaker, but weaker to some degree. Why release on the Xbox since the fan base are very condescending towards JRPGs? You are right, Dark Titan, but remember, they need money. They don't get to be picky about where the money comes from. Give it the option. Like some of those titles are already on Game Pass. Like Octopath Traveler 2 is on Game Pass. Put it somewhere to make some money. Why is it that all the Switch's exclusives for the most part are all on other platforms, but you over here slowly like, well, maybe we'll release it on the PC. Really? Final Fantasy 16, you're only going to release on the PC. Not saying you're going to make a bunch of money off of Xbox, but why would you not at least try? Like, what? It literally does not hurt you at this point because you already losing money. Like, you're already losing money. Let me see. I'm trying to check something. Has there even been talk about this? Probably not. There has not. There has not been talk at all. That's crazy. But more likely they're gonna come to Xbox because, and maybe possibly the new Nintendo system, because realistically they've lost too much money on them. The problem is those games aren't. Also, let's be real here. Square, when you release a part 1, part 2, part 3 to games, you know what that makes me want to do? Not buy it until the trilogy's out, okay? So if anything, why would I go out of my way to buy part 2 of a 3-part remake of Final Fantasy VII that kinda sort of faithful? It's like you put yourself in the hole and then we're surprised, why is it so dark in here? What? What are we doing? What are we doing, yo? What are we doing? Well, I have a copy of Persona 3 Reload on Xbox. I'll tell you this, though. I can't really find a new copy of it for a respectable price, though. Just to humor you, because I bought Persona 3 Reload on Xbox not too long ago, and I had to go find a used copy of it, because if you buy it new, you're about to spend an absurd amount of money compared to, like, PlayStation, which is also ridiculous. Let's see. Whoops. Persona 3 Reload. Let's see. Give me Amazon. I think right now it's like $64. And some of you would go, "What? Well, that's not a big deal. $64 is affordable." You say that, but the PlayStation 5 version and the PlayStation 4 version are both, well, okay, the PS4 version is kind of rare too, actually. But even that is not as rare. Okay, so the PS5 version is $39. The PlayStation 4 is $53. And I said the Xbox One is $65. I don't know if that's that might be an Atlas thing. I'm going to be real with you. What if I go on Best Buy? Is it even available on Best Buy for a cheaper price? This is me doing too much. We're going to get into other things in a second. I just want to bring it up. But yeah, long story short, Square making terrible financial decisions, and they want us to be surprised that they're making terrible financial decisions. And now they're like, man, I think we made a terrible financial decision. And I just want to be like, really? You just now realize it wasn't smart to cater to the West with a game franchise that has never been Western focused? Half of the people who like it because it's Japanese as all heck. Like, it's a Japanese game. Why are you surprised that the Japanese game is Japanese? Let's see, the PS4 version and then the Xbox version. You can't even buy the Xbox version. I don't think they made enough copies of the Xbox version. And some of you go, see, the Xbox version sold out. I'm like, no, the copies were so low, it didn't make any money. Like, let's just be real about it. That's what happened. The Xbox version is so low. They probably made such a low shipment of it, you physically cannot buy it. Which is a whole other problem we can get into. But we're not going to get into. I think Final Fantasy X is the best selling Final Fantasy game. Is it? If anyone wants to fact check, they can fact check it. But is there anything else we need to just talk about with Square before we move on? Because the Square stuff really isn't that engaging or interesting. It's just something to acknowledge that Square is like all of a sudden, man, maybe we should have diversified our games, our big budget titles, and everyone in the back going, you think? Xbox only play Game Pass. Yeah, of course. PS3 Reload is Amazon, Walmart physical for PS5. Exactly. But if you go look at the Xbox version, you either can't find the game or it's way expensive. But if there's nothing else with Final Fantasy, we're gonna move on. If Dragon Quest turns into a battle royale, I will riot. I will literally riot. I will commit acts so unspeakable, it's absurd. So let's quickly discuss this whole rumor of a Horizon Zero Dawn remaster. Bro, what are you talking about? And apparently there's also another rumor of a Days Gone remaster. What are we doing right now? What are we doing? It feels like I'm being punked. Because this is the quickest turnaround for any remaster I've ever seen in my life. For a game that come out, and Horizon Zero Dawn is 7 years. It's 7 years old, not even a decade, and I'm hearing talks of a freaking remaster for the first game. You're remastering Horizon Zero Dawn. And you're also remastering Days Gone, which ironically enough, viewed lower, like was less revered than Horizon. They're not even on the same level. It's like Horizon somewhere around like a B+, A- kind of game, and you got Days Gone sitting at like a C at best. And for some reason they're like, we should put out remasters. And I'm like, guys, you have screwed yourselves. You don't even have any good new IP. You've had a couple of stellar games this year, and most of them aren't even from your internal studio, except for like one of them. And everyone's in the back like, yo, you know what we could get? You know what we could get? Some new games, some sequels to titles. Are you telling me the only thing we got to look forward to is Insomniac saving you again with another game? Dog, Insomniac has been carrying Sony on their back. Somebody needs to give all those people raises because all they doing is working. They just working. And some of y'all might think, what do you mean? Well, let's look at it. You got Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart at the beginning of the generation. They worked on the remaster for Spider-Man. Then you got Miles. Then you got Spider-Man 2. And then you got Wolverine next year probably, if I remember correctly. That's 5 games. Now, one of those is a remaster, and one of those is using the similar engine, so fine. But the point is, that's still 3 to 5 games of value from one company, and we can't get a Naughty Dog game for nothing. We can't, also, what's up, Shot Red? We can't get a Naughty Dog game for nothing, and you sitting over here with Insomniac with the whole company on their back. And some of you are like, what about Horizon? Not Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West or God of War Ragnarok. Great. Good. I'm not against those titles. Nothing against those titles. But once again, we've been going through this thing with Sony of diminishing returns. The way Sony seems to handle their generations, at least in the last 3 to 4 generations, is they introduce some new IPs, you get rid of a chunk of them, and you move into the next generation with some of the ones you kept and the new IPs you made, and then you do it over again. The problem that seems to be happening, though, is that what you're getting in reality is let's say Sony has 100 IPs going into the PlayStation 3 generation. You gonna lose 50, you might gain 10, and now you got 60 overall. You're still at a deficit of 40, right? But you got 10 new IPs and 50 old IPs. You jump into the PS4 generation, you cut off 30. So you have 30 IPs and you add 5 more. Now you have 35 IPs from the 60 you had before. Once again, we're losing. We're never gaining anything. And then you get into the PS5 generation where you cut off like 15. No, let's say 15 to 20. Let's say 15. You cut off 15, right? That means you now have 20 IPs in total. And you add in maybe 2 more. So you have 22. And I'm sitting here looking like, what about this business model works? You do get good games. You do get good games like the Uncharted series, Last of Us, the God of War reboot. I don't care for the God of War reboot like that, but people seem to like the games. Horizon, even the Astrobot is a quality title. You got Bloodborne that nothing will be done with because of course not. Infamous, which seems to be dead right now. And you're sitting there in the corner looking like, maybe we should put out something new, guys, right? Or at least a sequel. At least a sequel. It ain't have to be a new IP. Put out a sequel to a title. You look over in the corner. You know that game we made like a couple of years ago? You mean like seven years ago? Yeah, throw that back on there. Huh? Yeah. Throw Horizon back in there. You realize that people can play the first Horizon through backwards compatibility on the 5, right? Yeah, but still, just go ahead and make a remaster. You want to remaster a game that they can already play and that they played before and they just finished playing the sequel for a couple years ago? Yeah, man, I think they really like it. In what world do you think that was a viable thing to do? Or a smart one? Yeah, we don't want to talk about Gravity Rush. Gravity Rush makes people sad. Because there's another IP that just got lost in the wayside. And you're sitting there in the corner going, guys, you know what looks kind of weird? We got a PlayStation 5 and we just announced the Pro. Maybe we should announce a new game, whether it's a sequel or a new IP, just a new title we should announce to kind of show off the power of the Pro. Remaster Horizon. Please don't make us remaster Horizon and not do anything else. Oh, okay, fine. I understand. That might be a little bit too crazy. What else do we got over here? Why are you looking at our back catalog? You thinking about making a sequel? What's that game over there with the dust on the back of it? Bring that over here. Sir, that's Days Gone. It's not that old, guys. Like it's still pretty new. I mean, it sold all right. It wasn't great, but it was okay. It was a decent start. We can make a strong sequel to that. Remaster that game as well. Oh, you don't think people will want a sequel or a game that was new that they haven't played before? I think they would just want to play that game again. You do realize that your console has backwards compatibility, right? Make it anyway. Sir, please. We're getting roasted in the comments over the Pro being $700 and not having a disc drive and feeling like it's not worth the money. Can we at least put out one new game to show off the Pro? Check out the stand. What? Check out the stand of the PS4 Pro. What? Check out the stand of the PS5 Pro. Excuse my language. Bro, please. I don't think they need that stand. That stand serves no purpose. I think we can make some money with that stand. Sir, we need one game. Give me one game. Give me a sequel to Days Gone, please. Did we already up the price for PSN Plus? Yes, sir. We literally like not too long ago. Do we need to raise it again? No, sir. Don't do that. Oh, I probably took that bit too far, but still. You mean Rot to Hell too? That's crazy. That's a funny reference though. Having the audacity to play on people's nostalgia. Oh yeah, I did forget about the PlayStation 5 Pro with the original PlayStation colors. Here's celebrating 30 years of PlayStation, which is funny because I didn't realize I was older than PlayStation, but that's still kind of funny. And don't forget Astro Playground pre-installed on every PS5 Pro purchase in my gamer. Yeah, well played. Well played, Z. Well played, Z. Yeah, they had the nerve. They had the nerve to be like, well, here, we're gonna celebrate 30 years of PlayStation. Let's just turn the colors. Let's change the colors of the PlayStation. Sir, why would you do that? I think they would like it. I mean, I'm not saying they wouldn't like it, but you realize that you're in a really negative place right now, and I don't think you think a simple color coding is going to make that big of a difference. Change it to the PlayStation 1 colors. Sir, I feel like you just haven't been listening to me. Buttered toast. I knew it! Sir, you got to do more than just change the colors. I think people will buy it. I'm not saying people won't buy it, but we have poor public opinion right now. We're at poor public opinion right now, guys. Just do something positive for the community. More colors, but keep the stand down. Charge them for any extension cords we can. Sir, the game console literally only needs 2 cords nowadays. It's HDMI and the power cord. Can we take out the power cord? No, we cannot take out the power cord, sir. Please do not touch the power cord, sir. I think we could take out the power cord. Oh my God. It's like they never learn. They don't listen to nobody. Just listen to somebody. Anybody, please. Talking about freaking ports and remasters and color variations and a Pro that feels like it's not worth the money. Ugh. I hate it. By the way, can any of you guys buy a disk drive for that thing currently? Has that gone back in stock? It hasn't. Has it? I hope it has. If it hasn't, that's crazy. Oh my God. I hate society. Part of me hates human life, but that's a personal opinion. That's something I gotta work on. I gotta be better than that. So yeah, that's how I feel about Sony currently. If anyone wants to add to that conversation, let me know. And post it in the chat because there's a lot of things that can be said. And my God, it's just Jesus Christ. But with that being said, we're gonna leave Sony alone. We're gonna get over to Daddy Nintendo. Big Daddy Nintendo got some stuff going on, and even though the main point of what I wanted to talk about was going to be primarily focused on the Switch 2, they said, nah, son, we putting out lawsuits. We're putting out lawsuits. We're putting out lawsuits. Is this Power World? Yeah, I'm not really surprised, but it's kind of late, isn't it? Didn't the game come out this year? I mean, yeah, technically it's not even officially released though. Yeah, we about to bust them. Okay. All right. Let's address it. Let's address it. So I'm gonna go pull up the actual statement so we have it officially. I'm gonna read the statement properly, and then not understand anything because that's what a newstuber would do. A newstuber would read something and then not get it. Well, first of all, filing lawsuit for the infringement of patent rights against Pocket Pair Incorporated. Nintendo Company Ltd, headquarters Kyoto, Minami-ku, Japan. Representative, Director, and President Shuntaro Furukawa, Nintendo hereafter, together with the Pokemon Company, filed a patent infringement lawsuit in the Tokyo District Court against Pocket Pair Incorporated, HQ 2-10-2 Higashi Gotanda. Shinagawa-ku, Tokyo. Defendant hereafter on September 18, 2024. The lawsuit seeks an injunction against the infringement and compensation for damages on the grounds that Palworld, a game developed and released by the defendant, infringes on multiple patent rights. Nintendo will continue to take necessary actions against any infringement of its intellectual property rights, including Nintendo's brand itself, to protect the intellectual properties it has worked hard to establish over the years. Now, some of you would go, why would they do this now? Why don't they just make better games and then, we wouldn't have these problems? Well, let me explain a couple of things here. Nintendo's bread and butter, it's like Disney. That's why I look at Nintendo as the Disney of gaming. Their bread and butter is their nostalgia, their video games, right? People always go, well, you've been playing Pokemon for 25 years? Yes. And there'll be another 29, hopefully, as long as the series continues to be successful. We care about our nostalgia. We care about our work. What's up, Landrew? How's it going? We're actually talking about the lawsuit right now. You came at the perfect time. You missed me ranting about Sony because Sony's trash and makes stupid decisions. Let's talk about Nintendo suing people. So, Nintendo, like I said, is like the Disney of gaming. Their IP is insanely important to them. Whereas, Sony will throw theirs in the trash at the drop of a hat. Nintendo cares a lot. Nintendo cares a lot about their IP and the infringement on their IP, and literally will not stand for any type of infringement for the most part. So a lot of people are going to go, well, this is just because they don't make as good as games as Palworld. First off, Palworld is not a company, a game, nor is Pocket Pair Inc. a company that should be praised. For those who don't know anything about Pocket Pair Inc., Pocket Pair Inc. is known for doing this. What they do is they take a bunch of pre-existing titles and they smash them into another game, and then they sell that game off to the masses. They've done it with Zelda. They've done it with Portal. They do it with a lot of popular games. Go look up any of Pocket Pair's other games. They're all in that same vein of smashing two things together and throwing it out. And it's not like a subtle way or like a I've been inspired way. It's like a Breath of the Wild does this. I'm going to take that and I'm going to take even HUD and visual elements from that. And I'm just going to put that in a game and add in the mechanics of another game with this, and this, and possibly take visual elements from that as well, smash it together, and put it out to the public. Don't they have a blatant Tears of the King clone? Yeah, they do. Yeah, and pirate them saying, let me stick it to the man. Don't give them money, but still play their games. Suing over patent rights is very dangerous for other game developers too. I think Nintendo only went after Power because it got so popular. I don't know if it's just the popularity. I don't know if it's just that. I think it's also because they felt. I think you know what. I probably would somewhat say that's probably possibly true because there was money being lost on a game that in some cases does blatantly rip off certain things from Pokemon. Like there are just certain design. Now they're talking about infringements. They're not talking about they're talking about like patents. So they're not talking about what we would be thinking they're talking about. I would be thinking they were talking about things like how certain pals use Pokemon that look just straight up like Pokemon. Like there's a couple of pals that just straight up look like Pokemon as if they had like another shiny variant or something. But they're talking about patents. But the one thing I think they're probably talking about is something like, Pokeball concepts, where you throw a ball and you catch them on and that kind of aspect. Because realistically, what Palworld does is it combines Pokemon with low-key Fortnite. That's almost how I would say. People are coping with the popularity stuff since Nintendo had gone after the thing before that were not so popular. For the patent, let me click this. Let me click the link that Donnie has provided to the fans and the family. Once again, I'm not choosing sides. I'm just providing information regarding the Japanese sides of things. A lot of people are talking about the patent of ball throwing / capture mechanic patent, which was previously apparently filed by Nintendo in May of 2024 after the release of Power World. But please keep in mind that this case will be heard in a Japanese court of law, where paperwork says that this patent was filed by Nintendo via the Japanese Patent Office of August 2022, much prior to Power World. I'm not going to discuss if the patent on this kind of mechanic is good or not, just providing the relevant information. I figured it would be on the ball throwing mechanic. That's like one of the most notable thing here. Power had its initial reveal trailer for this patent. If I'm correct, what trailer I believe is the reveal. I don't believe this shows the ball throwing capture summoning mechanics. Yeah, I think they're just going. I think that's what they're going after is the patent in terms of just the Pokeball premise, and that makes sense because they're not. They could hit them somewhere else, but that's what they're going for. Cloudworks community manager tweeted out a smile and deleted it. Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But like, go. I'm serious. Go. And the fact that the name of their company is Pocket Pair is also kind of scummy in its own right. There are certain things that just feel like bootlegs, right? And that's the vibe I've always gotten from Pocket Pair when you go look at their other titles. This is literally Power fits right in line with their other titles. Stealing premises and mechanics and then just smashing it with another game. It's just that Power got popular. That's literally it. And because it got popular, people kind of let it slide. But it falls in the same line of what they've done. I'm not really tripping on Nintendo going after them for patents because if Nintendo wanted to be really petty, and I do mean really petty, if Nintendo wanted to be really petty, they could get really petty about it. Now, granted, some people would argue that the ball throwing mechanic is kind of petty. I would just respectfully disagree. Night Revolver. Let's see. We still don't know what patent they're talking about yet. We don't officially. You're right. We don't. So in retrospect, and right now, we'll just leave it as a wait and see approach because we don't have enough information, unfortunately. Not that there isn't things to still see and talk about. I'm just saying we don't have enough information to go over it yet. Let's see. I think the best way is if you see them. Cool. I think I'm going after the models or art would be better. Jesse's right. We don't know yet, but we gonna find out that when that trial day happens. Yeah, Sue. True. We'll see what they specifically hit. It's gonna be Pokemon related mechanics. But unfortunately, this is a company that played this game, and unfortunately, the game that blew up of the games you copied included Nintendo stuff. And not only did it include Nintendo stuff, it included Pokemon stuff. And dog, when I tell you Pokemon's companies, their parent companies, are like the mafia, Jesus Christ, they are like the mafia. I think it depends on the gameplay mechanic. If it's something that literally is a cornerstone of your franchise, it's kind of hard for me to be like. Now, if you put like a patent on a jump, that's a little bit different. But the problem is we don't know what. Like I said, we don't know the specifics. So right now, it'd be better not to address it fully until we get the specifics of what the patent is about. Like what patent did they infringe upon? Because right now we're just guessing. What is that? Oh. What is that? I don't care. But yeah. So I guess if nothing else, is there anything else I need to cover? Honestly, I wish Nemesis system from Lord of the Rings. No, Lord of the Rings. I don't know why I'm immediately with the Lord of the Rings. That's not what that is. Also, Nintendo known about Power for a while. I remember that Pokemon mods got taken down less than 12 hours back in January. Switch 2 will almost be exactly what the leak is, even if the link is faked. I hope Nintendo wins against Power, but I actually like the other monster capturing games. This could be bad. I think it's specific. Once again, we don't know the specifics of the lawsuits. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Let's just get into the Switch 2 leaks, right? Let's get into the Switch 2 leaks. I think there's not, unless there's anything else gaming related you guys want me to bring up. I think the Switch 2 leaks are the last like major thing we need to talk about. So I went and looked, and I think I found the general premise of it. I think I don't have everything, so if I'm missing something, let me know. So please link any other like more detailed thing on the specs in case I miss it something. But the rumor supposedly is that it's the game console itself. We still got Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons apparently are magnetic now. It's rocking like 12 gigs of RAM. It has there's a mic on the actual Switch itself. Now there's also a USB port on the top and the bottom. Supposedly, this is all supposedly. Let me see. Dual cooling fans. We still have NFC chip, which will be for Amiibo. I'm trying to think of anything else. The screen is bigger. I don't think they mentioned whether or not the screen is OLED or not. I don't think we know that yet. You think the Switch 2 can run games like Street Fighter 6 or Resident Evil 2 Remake? And Nintendo has an IP called Fossil Fighters. Oh yeah, that's right, Fossil Fighters. I remember that one. Am I missing anything else? Nintendo doesn't have an issue with monster collecting games. They promote Yokai Watch, Dragon Quest Monsters, Digimon, Shin Megami Tensei / Persona, etc. Exactly. You think the render leaks are legit? And it look kind of legit. The only major difference I've noticed with the images is that it looks like, hold on, are the Joy-Con buttons shaped differently? That's the one thing I noticed. Like this is like it's like the back trigger is changed somewhat, and it looked bigger, and it looked like the metal part that slides into the actual screen. That looks different. From what I heard, the renders were created by the leaker to show off what the system looks like. So it's not really that the renders are true, but the Joy-Cons don't look absurdly different. It looks like the Joy-Cons, and granted, once again, this is still like, we're still in the rumor mill side of this, so none of this is really confirmed. The Joy-Cons just look bigger because the screen is bigger, which I don't know how I feel like, because see, I wish I had a Steam Deck in my hand to make me feel like, to see how I feel about like a bigger screen. It doesn't look like it's absurdly bigger. It looks like it's a decent percentage bigger, like 10 to 15%, but nothing too crazy. But the main things is that, and then the power wise, people are saying it sits somewhere between an Xbox Series S and a PS5. I'm more than likely willing to believe it sits closer to an Xbox Series S than anything. Let me see. False Fighters was cool. Hopefully Nintendo fixed the Joy-Cons issue since I had to buy a Switch and return it and buy another one because you're talking about the drift? Yeah. It all hinges on what analog sticks they're buying. I don't buy this for many reasons. The main one is that it literally just looks like a Switch, and I think there's more to that. I think the Switch 2 is closer to the Steam Deck size. Will it have a dock? It says it still has a dock. I'm leaning towards the photos being created by someone based off of what they saw instead of them being actual Switch 2 parts. That's true. I probably would lean that direction as well. I'm not gonna bank it on the reality, but really the only major things you need to know is that the Joy-Cons are bigger, they're magnetic instead of the railing, which I would argue, I almost feel like is worse in some way. I get why they did it. I'll just say that. I don't know if I feel like it's better, but I get why they did it. The only cool things I really want to talk about as far as the device physical changes seems to be just the fact that we now have a mic on the system. We have a USB-C port on the top of the system. We still have a headphone jack from my understanding. So it seems like a bigger focus on like online gaming from the dock itself, which is good because I think that was necessary. I think that should be a part of the experience. Did you want more innovation with the Switch 2, or is that just me? Oh, the problem is the Switch's concept was the major innovation. What it's kind of hard for me to think. It's hard for me to think ahead of a company of how much more you could do with it. Because essentially what you did is you took the versatility of the Wii and the portability of your handhelds, and the Wii U was kind of trying to do the same thing. This seems like you've almost hit the ultimate realization of that marriage. There were some things and kinks you still need to work out, but it's still like the Switch was the ultimate marriage to what their entire brand was leading into. Like this crazy marriage of like console and handheld design philosophies that smash perfectly into one system. It felt like the Switch was like absurdly close to realizing that goal. Yes, I think it's going to be LCD. And will they release an OLED model down the road? There's no reason for Nintendo to come up with more drastic new concept when the hybrid model is the most successful thing they've ever created. Maybe the LCD should have some HDR support. Okay, that's crazy. I've seen people hate on Nintendo for gimmicks and now people want gimmicks. Nintendo fans want innovation because Nintendo fans like Nintendo for innovation. People who don't like Nintendo make fun of the gimmicks and then they end up buying the console that has the gimmick. Like people probably go, the Wii is underpowered and you can't play this, that, and the third on it. And they probably own at least 2 of them fuckers. Why? Because they probably got kids and they got somebody in their house that wants it. I think it will support Xbox and PS and PlayStation games. Oh Lord. Even if they brought back the dual screen, I would have been so hyped. The dual screen is a weird premise because I think if they ever did dual screen, it would be a more handheld focused Switch at that point. It would be that version's light form, in my opinion. But the problem is you can't even do that because the only reason why you can justify having a dual screen is you're asking people to go back to making dual screen games, and I don't know how many people really want to do that. You're also asking big developers who already don't want to do a lot, to make dual screen games, and I just don't see them doing that. If anything, you'll make the line even harder for Nintendo to get certain titles, and I feel like you won't get enough to justify the innovation. Heck, a lot of us aren't even that satisfied with the Switch Joy-Cons in themselves, or the HD Rumble for that matter. Yo, if they release a dual screen, I bust. It's not exciting to make just a bigger Switch with more power, but it makes the most sense, so people will have to get over it. I'd be happy enough not to pay for online membership. That's not going away. That's not going away. That's absolutely not going away. Will there be a new Smash Brothers? Man, if we get Smash, it will be a complete reboot of Smash. I'm actually curious to see the reboot for Mario Kart. Because we all know Mario Kart is going to get a change. Dual screen games for an HD console would have devs go lazy since they don't even want to try that with the Wii U. Exactly. What I'm saying, yeah, exactly. My problem with dual screen gaming is that for a handheld, I think they were more willing to do it. For a home console, I don't see them spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's also adding a cost for a Nintendo game that just seems insane, especially when we're at the point now where they just want to port titles over. So dual screen would be cool, but I don't think people would really financially invest in it, realistically. Honestly, I think they'd be shooting themselves in the foot. You'd only get like a handful of developers who would really take advantage of it, and the rest of them would just kind of phone stuff in. The assumption is backwards compatibility is true. There's been rumors of the storage. The storage ideas I've been hearing is 128 and 256. Those are the 2 storage options I've been hearing, or possibly 64. I think 128 would be fair. That's what I would be fine with, is 128. And there's supposedly 2 SKUs of this thing. It's not just one SKU, it's 2 SKUs. So either the SKU is either OLED or LED, OLED or LCD, I'm sorry. Oh, fuck me. Hold on. It's either OLED or LCD, and the storage is the same because also the price point is supposedly $400, which if it's $400, I'm perfectly fine with that. That is a perfectly fine price. I can take $400. I'm just trying to think. Power wise, I'm not really too concerned, honestly. I feel like at that kind of power, if you're like around the PlayStation 4 ish power, we should be good. Considering how many games have been coming out for the PS4 and PS5 up until recently, that's a lot of titles that you'd be able to cover. Obviously, we would start getting into more dangerous territory when we got to like this year's games and like beyond. But if you come out next year, that means the majority of the games that are out you'd be able to cover, with probably some sacrifices having to be made for some of the PS5 exclusive type titles. You can just keep patching it and adding in new characters. Splatoon probably needs to take a break, but I don't think it's going to because Splatoon is Nintendo's shooter now. So just like Call of Duty, you're gonna get one like every year. But I hope they gap it out more. Is there any news on the Joy-Cons not being asked? Can't tell you how much I paid to replace one and how often it happens. There has not really been a lot of talks with the Joy-Cons other than the fact that they're magnetic and that they're bigger. I'm fine with Smash getting rebooted because that means the game mechanics. I'm curious if the game mechanics would change. Every Smash game, something changes besides just the actual, besides just the character roster itself. So I'd be curious to see if how soccer would go to a more back to basis Smash Brothers game, and how limited would he make it? Because you can't. He already said you can't really do. Let's be real here. There are a bunch of Smash characters who could be updated with new moves and new like stuff. The only reason why some of that stuff hasn't happened is literally just because some of them are legacy characters, and some of them got minor updates, mainly in their final smashes, and a couple of move tweaks and changes. So it's not like it isn't desired. A reboot would be nice just to see what Sakurai could do with a fresh mind. That's the way I look at it as one wonderful 1001 for Switch 2. Jesus Christ. Retro's having fun, guys. Retro's having so much fun. Looking at the photos and looking at the information, I'm excited. I know people are going to ask about third party. Third party has always been tricky on Nintendo, and I think will continue to be tricky on Nintendo. But I will say the Switch generation closed a lot of that third-party gap. I want you to understand something. Nintendo had been missing out on games probably since the freaking N64, right? And so as a result, Nintendo has a bunch of titles they've never had. And it wasn't until the Switch that we got access to a bunch of those IPs. Not all of them, but some of them, right? And so as a result, they don't have as much of the, oh, look at this old game that we made back in 2003 that never got in on a Nintendo system. We're going to port that. They don't have nearly as much of those IPs because they ported so much. We went from having like 1 or 2 Resident Evils to having everything up until technically 7. And technically 7 is cloud version on Switch. It's ass, but it is there on Switch in its cloud version. So yeah, same thing with Final Fantasy actually. We went from having maybe up until what? The 3D games, we had everything up until 6 consistently. And then we never got the 3D games. And it isn't until the Switch generation where we got 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 2. Like, we've gotten more games. Wonder how much more cloud games we're getting. God, I hope we go back and get some proper ports of some of those IPs. I mean, some of those games. Kingdom Hearts especially, dog. I'm not playing Kingdom Hearts on cloud. You can't make me. It's not worth the investment. Go eat a dick square. Give me the physical games, please and thank you. Close the servers and give me a physical game. You can give me physical Melody and Memories, but you can't give me physical Kingdom Hearts 1. We will fight and we will box. Square Enix and Nintendo partnering up was huge this generation. Big deal if you know your history. That is true. That's true. The only time we got Square titles realistically was on handheld. Nintendo home consoles never got Square titles. And it's funny because I was talking about Square messing up earlier, so it's kind of funny to bring it. They're bringing it right back here. If it wasn't for the money, cars, movies. Sorry. I went on a tangent. I apologize. But yeah, what I'm saying is that third party went through a heck of a transition with the Switch. The Switch got like heck. We never had Devil May Cry. Now we have up to 3, I think. 3? Yeah, we have Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3. And we have a special edition of 3 that no one else has for some weird reason. So that means the only other games you have to port for Devil May Cry is 4 and 5. Which 4 they could have been ported. And 5, 5 they could technically... 5 they might be able to port to the new system. It's going to take some hits, but I think you could get away with that one. But the point I'm making is that we're not gonna have nowhere near as many as random third parties show up, at least in terms of old titles, because we've covered a lot of them. Square doesn't have barely anything left unless they start porting the Dragon Quest games, which, yes, please, but still, I'm just saying, I don't know if they're gonna do all that. And technically, the HD collection, the HD 2D games have been kind of filling that role regardless. Capcom, are you gonna start adding back your fighting games? You've gotten a lot of your classics, but you still got Street Fighter 4, 5, and 6. I know 6 won't get ported. 4 and 5, the only time Nintendo got 4 was on the 3DS, and that's an older version of that game. So we never got the up-to-date version of 4. 5 has never come out, and I don't think we'll get 6 for like another generation. But the point I'm making is that there are titles and games that need to be made and played, and I look forward to playing them. And I'm seeing what they end up doing with all this extra time they're not doing. You miss a lot, Vadi. We talked about Sony. We talked about Microsoft. We talked about Square. We talked about Nintendo. We talked about a lot, Vadi. We talked about a lot. I'm trying to rack my brain, though. I don't... It's weird. It's going to be these next... And then I think the other rumor is that supposedly we're going to get an announcement of this either in the next couple weeks, so we don't even have to wait that long, supposedly, theoretically. There was also a rumor that supposedly they had gotten like pretty far in doing the TV spots, so like they've already done filming them, they're just wrapping that up. So I don't know how true that is, but supposedly that's what happened. Nintendo can bring some more series that never left Japan. Agreed. Can't wait for more old games and Wii U ports. Yeah, but we don't even have that many. That's the other thing. We don't have that many Wii U ports. That's the other thing we need to bring up. The only things we have left are things like Xenoblade Chronicles X, Devil's Third, if we want to acknowledge that. Oh, Later Boom. I really hope your account carries over. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That online is a big deal. If you don't carry that online over, we will riot. Yeah, Star Fox Zero is the other one. What else? I guess Kirby's, Kirby Canvas Curse, if I remember correctly? That one hasn't carried over. We have a handful of titles left. It's not a lot. There's not a lot of games left. We did a lot. So the question is so once again, Nintendo can't even rest on that anymore. Unless they're going to start doing more GameCube remakes. We've already gotten like 3. We have what? The Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's Mansion. Paper Mario. Unless you're about to do Star Fox Adventures or F-Zero. We got the sequel to the Prime games. We got ports for technically 1 and 2. We got ports of almost all. Actually, no. I think all the Pikmin games are on Switch now. Get that Guys, baby. Starfall. Yeah, Starbucks. Oh, Rainbow Curse. Thank you. I'm just trying to think, like, And I think I think it was like me, KG, and them were talking. Yeah, oh God, not Ziplash. Me and KG and a couple others were talking about what games we could potentially get going into the next system. Like when I'm thinking about the titles, because I was trying to figure out the timing for what games. Like for example, Mario probably would land in 2026 to coincide with the movie. That would be my thought process. So it would miss the first year. Pokemon, I would assume, is the big game for next year, considering you're probably going to do what you did in 2022, where you put out ZA and then you put out Generation 10 in the same year, just like how they did Scarlet and Violet and then Arceus. So Pokemon will probably be the heavy hitter next year. I don't see you putting out a Zelda because you just put out a Zelda this year. Fire Emblem seems a little bit too early considering Engage only came out like a year ago, going into 2 years. So by the time we hit 2025, it'll be almost 3 years. So I don't see Fire Emblem coming out soon. Metroid obviously will be out for Prime 4. If we get a collection of all the N64 and GameCube Pokemon games, I'll do a flip. Dog, you're implying we're going to get anything with old school Pokemon. You know how long it took us to get Gen 1 on the freaking 3DS? What else? What is left of Mega Man to get? Well, I mean, in terms of third party, I would be curious to see if they're working on another Mega Man game because it's been a while since 11. Muramasa Castle remake for Switch 2. Mega Man Star Force Collection, please. Oh Lord, you guys already running around with your wish list. The new Pokemon will say it's all graphics wise. Maybe it'll even look as good as Coliseum. Oh wow, you just like Coliseum because of that grungy look it has, which I respect. I'm just saying. Yeah, the game choice is kind of weird because of how the titles are landing. I don't think we'll get Zelda. I think they'll say Mario for its movie. Pokemon will probably be the heavy hitter. I don't see us getting Splatoon. I'm hoping they wouldn't be insane enough to put Splatoon 4 out. But I think we don't have enough time for that. The problem is we don't have a lot of, unless they're going to push some IPs they haven't touched in a while, which would be nice and smart. So I hope that's true. Let's see. You talking about? Oh Lord! If they announced Legend of Dragoon remake, I'm eBay. What's that? Eddie Big? Oh no, I think he's just having a fit. Maybe a new Dragon Quest. But we already have 12 coming. Oh yeah. Speaking of Star Fox Assault, I hope if we got one, it would be based on the Japanese version, since the Japanese version had the better animations for the mission briefings. They changed the animations between American and Japanese. I feel like that took more work to accomplish nothing, other than just being inconsistent. And my mind would just go, is that really worth it? And the answer would be, almost every time, no, it wasn't worth it. Can we not do that? Nah, it's too late. My God damn it. It's always too late. Hold on. Sorry, I'm checking something real quick. Okay, that's not important. Banjo Kazooie collab. I mean, at this point, we're just wishing for things at this point. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, if Crystal's in it, I'm buying one. The furry community is coming out in full force with that Star Fox support, baby. Oh Lord. Oh my God. I don't want to spend too much time speculating. I'll be real with you guys. We're still too early on. We haven't seen the console. We don't have a release date. We don't even know what it's officially called. I don't want to go through this process of trying to like guess everything with the Switch, because I can make a stream that's just dedicated to just that. But as far as the information we got in terms of specs and what it does and doesn't have, potentially, it looks pretty good, all things considered. $400 would be reasonable, but at this point, if the rumors are true and we're going to get some sort of reveal in the next few weeks, I don't want to spend too long sitting here theory crafting on what we may or may not get. Also, why is my chat not working? What? I just realized that. Is my chat still not working? Okay, I don't understand what happened. That was weird. National Chain 2. The game too good to just leave it out to die. Well, I think I made enough money. If anything, it's more of a platinum problem than anything else. It vanished when I checked my phone? Okay, weird. My phone must have changed my chat. I don't know. Anywho, like I said, I don't want to spend too long going into like theory crafting because at the end of the day, we won't really know until we like see something. Besides, more likely we're going to talk about this on the Juices Loose on Monday. And the one thing I kind of hate to do sometimes is burn myself out on a topic before like I'm done discussing it. What seems more promising, Switch 2 or PS5 Pro? Switch 2. We're not going to do the poll that would embarrass PlayStation. People are more excited for a Switch 2 than a PS5 Pro. Why? Because the PlayStation 5 Pro is just more PlayStation. And as you've seen, more PlayStation is more games you've already played. And I'm just sitting here in the corner going, you know what? Maybe I just don't care about that. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm like, maybe, just maybe, young man. I just don't care about anything you have to say. Yes, quite right. That's how I feel about it. So, with that being said, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to touch upon gaming-wise. I don't think there is. I think I'm going to call it because I know TSS is streaming. I also know that, did you know that there was a Teen Titans game? Yeah, I did. I knew about the Teen Titans game. I've seen footage of it. I never played it directly, but I've seen it. It's based off of the show. The good show, not the new show. The good show. It's hard to call Go a new show when it's really been out for like a decade. Go is just the newer show is what I should say. But I think I'm going to call it for tonight because I know Tyrone's unboxing his PlayStation 5. I know TSS is streaming. I don't think it's his VTuber model though, is it? Let's go look. Is TSS turned into a VTuber for the masses? Has he become the VTuber he always wanted to be? Let me see. No, he has not. Okay, so that's fine. And then I think, well, I thought Tyrone was streaming. Yeah, he's about to start streaming. He should be about to start streaming now I think about it, but we'll see. Anywho, I think I'm going to go give TSS some support. Copy. Because like I said, I don't want this to be too long. Also, I have some shorts to do. I have some shorts to work on, ladies and gentlemen. There are some shorts that I'm going to work on for tomorrow. So check out the channel to see some more content coming. We're going to try to hit the shorts with our feet running. Create some more suitable content for the squad. So I hope you guys and love it. I'm showing shorts. I'm showing those shorts, shite. I'm showing those shorts, mate. All right, I'm rambling. I'm rambling like crazy. Anywho, no, seriously though. Tomorrow will also be Persona 3 Reload. Episode I Guess the Answer. More of that playthrough, so look forward to that. And yeah, so new YouTube content, Persona, and then Monday should be Juices Loose, where we'll have fun all over again. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, time to have some fun. I'm trying to do my best Joker impression without actually being the Joker. One of y'all might just assume I'm crazy. Spoiler, I am indeed crazy. And then what else? I think that's it. Once again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the support. Revolver, thank you for the $5 donation. And with that being said, I want to cover all my stuff. I think I covered everything I need to say. So with that being said, let's play game, play to win, and I got cat. Cut you guys later. Yeah, later. I said later.